Welcome to Plant Revelations, and today I want to talk to you about how to grow and look after Acacia dealbata. This spectacular plant loves me. It's been in the ground about 10 years, 15 years. Originally it was planted and it got fostered down to the ground, and then 2 or 3 years later it was shot up on the ground, and now it looks absolutely magnificent. And these are an amazing tree, and this is probably one of the few hardy acacias, one of about 3 that you can grow in the UK that are hardy, cross-tolerant. Once they get above 6 foot, it's a really versatile plant. Obviously, you can cut the flowers and use them as what we call mimosa, and they are great fillers in flower arrangement. You can create dye from the yellow flowers, green dye from the seed pods. The bark is actually medicinal. It can be used to help heal cuts, help dysentery. The gum from it is, you can use it like chewing gum, and it will actually use as a thickener. So it produces food dye, great for medicinal properties, and it's good timber tree as well. And in a lot of warmer countries, they use it as a good pioneer tree on like industrial sites or wasteland before introducing more sort of climax woodland species.
Oh, don't sleep on me like that. So no, I'm not dossing and making myself a cup of tea. I'm actually doing a really important part of trying to grow this plant just here, which you might have forgotten about because we were only talking about it 10 seconds ago, Acacia dealbata. And the reason and the way we do it is quite a dramatic way actually. We actually pour, believe it or not, boiling water onto the seeds, and that is the best way to get a really good germination rate. So I've actually been sad enough just to do it with cold water before. And after about 48 hours, you might notice that, say you put 20 seeds in, only like 1 or 2 out of the 20 will get about double the size. And if you would sow those seeds, you get a really poor germination rate. But by pouring boiling water on the seeds, you break down the seed coat, which is designed for these seeds to lay dormant for long periods of time. And that could be broken by extreme heat, hot summers, or it could be broken by forest fires or something like that. So you're basically emulating that by pouring the hot water on. And what you'll notice, if you pour the hot water on these, all of the seeds will swell and you'll get almost 100% germination rate. And because of this, these are actually really long-lived seeds. You can keep them in the cupboard for years, pour the hot water on, and you'll get great germination.
It's been 48 hours since we gave it the hot water treatment, and as you can see, the seeds have doubled, almost tripled in size. Now some, after a short while, started to float after about half a day, and they were infertile or duff, so I removed those because all they would do is spread disease, fungi, bacteria to the rest of the germinating seeds. So it's important to whip them out as soon as possible. If you look in there, there's also seeds in there that haven't really soaked up much seed at all. If I just spin it around, you might be able to see a few, but you can see some are much smaller than others, and the hot water treatment hasn't worked. They haven't soaked up any water, and they probably won't germinate very well. Now again, it could be because they're infertile, but it could be just because they need another hot water treatment. So if I didn't have much seed, but I have loads of this harvested from the big tree you saw earlier in the video, then I would probably take out the ones that had soaked the water, sow them, and leave the small ones and pour hot water on the rest of them. So these are now ready for sowing, and I'll show you what you need to do then. So this is just a regular mix, regular compost with a little bit of sand in to improve the drainage, and I'm just going to fill this 9 centimetre pot almost all the way. And then really you just want to tamp it down ever so slightly. You can use your hands. Ideally it should be sieve compost, but I know that these germinate really easily. And then you want to take your seed, obviously you drain your water out, and you can sow a lot in here. You could probably sow like, you could probably sow 20 odd. They just don't, so long as they're not touching, and you won't be able to see this because we're sowing black seeds onto black compost. But as long as the seeds aren't touching and sort of equidistant, it is a bit fiddly because they stick to your hands. They'll be fine. And the reason you don't want them touching again is if you get a little bit of damping off, which is just a fungus which will attack seedlings if it's too wet, or for whatever reason some seedling starts to rot and not make it, then you don't want that to spread to the other young seedlings. And also it gives them more space and light. And then literally all we need to do is, because they're relatively large seed, is just cover them with the depth of compost that is the same size of the seed, if that makes sense. So if the seed is that big, then you're putting about that much compost on top. So if the seed is, well, I'll put my hands where you couldn't see them then, but if the seed is basically 5 mil wide, then you put in 5 mil of compost on top. And that's a good general rule for most seeds. So big seeds you can plant deep, like sunflowers or horse chestnuts or acorns. Fine seeds like poppy seeds you would surface sow onto like grit or sand so they didn't damp off. Once you've sown your seeds, put them on a windowsill with a plastic bag or some cling film on top to keep the humidity. Around about room temperature is fine, 20 degrees, 17 to 20 degrees Celsius, and within a few weeks they should pop up. When you water them, I like to water them from below, so water the dish that they're sitting in below, let it suck up everything that it can, and anything it doesn't after a few hours, chuck away, otherwise your seeds might rot. After a month or two, they'll be ready to split apart and pot on. And what I've noticed with mimosas is when they're younger, they do tend to need quite a lot of water until they get planted in the ground. Get them a reasonable size before you plant them outside because they can be frost tender when they are young. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. Bye.